生にとって、優位なように、いろんなところでね、ケアしてくれているとってもいい学校です。なので、まあ、メジャーもすごいワイドで広いところで学べることができるので、よくお話を聞いて、自分のね、やりたいサブジェクトがあるかどうか、まず確認すること、そのためには何を勉強しなきゃいけないかすること、授業料どれぐらいなのかとか、今のうちからクエスチョンを聞いてね、それで臨んでいただければと思います。よろしいでしょうか。じゃあ、ティム先生ご紹介いたします。はい。イーストアングリア大学の留学生科のティム先生になります。皆さん拍手で迎えてください。その前にね、今日マイケル先生もいらっしゃってるんで、マイケル先生がね、NIC のファンデーションを、作ってくれて、皆さんの成績だとか全部管理して授業をしてくれてる先生になります。よく覚えておいてください。Tim, could you start your session?
Okay, thank you very much, Yumiko. Thank you very much for the introduction. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to the presentation. My name is Tim Hubbard. I'm the Regional Manager for East Asia at the University of East Anglia. Now, I know we're working with NIC for many, many years and spoken to students that are just in the same position as you at the moment, thinking about studying in the UK and maybe not sure which university to go to or which subject to choose or what is the right study plan and what is the right option for you. So I've spoken to many students over many years that are just in the same situation that you are now, in the first steps of your journey to studying in the UK. Now, if you do choose to study in the UK, no matter which university you choose or what subject you choose, I'm sure you're going to have an absolutely fantastic time. There's many excellent universities in the UK, and there's many very interesting subjects for you to choose from. So I'm sure if you do choose to continue your education journey in the UK, you're going to have a brilliant time. But I do really think that the University of East Anglia, or UEA, could be a really, really great choice for you guys as well, based on some of the experiences that previous students from NIC have had when they've come to join the University of East Anglia. So my job today in this session is to tell you all about our university, tell you some of the reasons why students have chosen University of East Anglia in the past and why it might be a good choice for you. So I'm going to give you, hopefully, all of the information you need to have a good first impression of the University of East Anglia. Then what we'll be able to do is have time for question and answer session. So if you want to ask me any questions, you can do so. It can be just a general question about living in the UK, or it can be a more specific question about the University of East Anglia. So my name is Tim Hubbard. I'm Regional Manager for East Asia. So my job at the university is to speak to students like yourselves from East Asia, and specifically Japan, on what it's like to be a student at the University of East Anglia. So I've worked in international education for over 10 years, supporting students like you to make the first steps on their study plan towards studying in the UK. I'm based in Norwich, which is where the university is, and I'm speaking to you right now from my home. So I live in the city of Norwich, and I'm broadcasting to you live from Norwich here in the UK. Now, normally I would be traveling out to Japan, and hopefully I will still be able to travel maybe at the end of this year, or probably more likely in 2022, to come visit NIC and hopefully speak to some of you face to face and be able to talk through your study plans individually. But for now, we're going to rely on the technology and have the Zoom meeting. But I am speaking to you live from England, from Norwich at the moment. So today's session, as I mentioned, we want to talk about why UEA could be a good choice for you and what have NIC students enjoyed about UEA in the past. Well, I think speaking to the students, I think there's 5 main areas that they say when I ask them why did they choose UEA and what is it that you're enjoying about your study at UEA at the moment. It's the city of Norwich. It's our big, green, beautiful campus. It's our ranking and our reputation. It's our reputation and our links with Japan. And it's also our broad range of degrees available at the university and the highly flexible modules that are available in these degrees as well. So these are the main 5 things that I'm going to be talking about in the presentation this afternoon. So firstly, UEA has a very special relationship with Japan. The University of East Anglia is quite well known in Japan, and we have very, very strong links with Japan that has been going for many, 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 many years. exchange research or study abroad partners, which are universities in Japan that partner with the University of East Anglia. We have a Center for Japanese Studies, Institute for Japanese Arts and Cultures located here in the city of Norwich. And we have many cultural and social events focused on Japan. That means that we are in the top 10 for UK university enrollments for number 9. So we're in the top 10 university for Japanese students enrollments. And we've got a large alumni network in Japan as well. So that means if you did join the University of East Anglia, you would be joining a large university with many students from many, many different countries. But you would also find a Japanese community on campus, and you would find it easy to make friends with other students from Japan studying a wide range of different subjects as well, because university has this special relationship with Japan and many Japanese students joining us each year. But one of our most special relations is our relationship with NIC. So we've worked together for many, many years. UEA and NIC have a long history of working together and of students going on that journey from the NIC Foundation to a degree in the University of East Anglia. Usually we would travel to NIC, we offer support and guidance. But for the moment, we're able to do the online session and we can do the online individual counseling and support if necessary as well. So we're going to organize a few of these different events. You're likely to hear from some of our previous NIC students that's currently enrolled in the university. And if you need to have an individual appointment to speak to me or my colleagues, then we can arrange that as well. We have a very, very special link with NIC and we do lots to support them as much as we can. We also have a very fast and efficient admissions process between UEA and NIC. So when you're applying for universities overseas, we know it can be quite difficult and you have to do your UCAS application and sometimes have to contact the admissions team in the university to chase up your application. It can be quite difficult and quite scary, but don't worry about that because we have a very strong link with NIC and I work very closely with Yumiko and with Michael as well in able to make you have a really easy, smooth transition from NIC to UEA. So we normally would come to Japan and we're hoping to be able to come to in 2022. In 2019, we brought along one of our academics, Dr. Maren de Vandak from the School of International Development, giving a seminar in NIC. So hopefully we'll be able to do that in the future as well. But one of the key things I'm sure you're wondering about is what is the entry requirements for NIC and what kind of grades do you need to be able to make this experience a reality? Well, it's based on the UK curriculum. So our courses require A levels at either AAA, which is kind of the top A levels, to BBB in the A level range. And we have mapped the NIC curriculum. We understand what you guys are studying. We've mapped that curriculum to our entry requirements. So we're looking at between 80% to 70 to 65%, depending on what subject you're choosing at the university. So for example, if you want to do economics, we require 70%. Film and television studies is 65%. But to come to UEA, you should be aiming for at least that 70% overall average. We also require the high school maths. So that's the maths that you've done before you joined NIC, or the NIC quantitative methods module, where we require 50% for most subjects, just to show your abilities in maths. If you're choosing something with a high degree of maths, maybe accounting and finance or other mathematics related course, that requirement might be a bit higher. For English language, what we're looking for most courses is IELTS 6.0 or Duolingo 100. Some of the courses will have a slightly higher IELTS. What you need to do is just have a look on the university website. You can see the course information there, and you can see what is the exact requirement for English language. But for most courses, we're looking at kind of 70% overall in the NIC. We're looking for a good performance in your high school maths or a good performance in your quantitative methods module, and the English language around IELTS 6 or Duolingo 100. And NIC students have gone on to do a range of degrees at University of East Anglia. Last year, I think we had 8 students enrolled with us from NIC, doing one economics, we had one in psychology, we had 2 in business management, 1 in accounting and finance, 2 in international development, and then 1 doing modern languages. So you can see from there, we have students going into a wide range of different degrees at University of East Anglia from NIC. We accept the NIC Foundation to the different schools, different departments across the university, and we have different routes for students to take to be able to join us. So the students from NIC have really enjoyed their study experience. They're all doing well in their program. I think they've all completed the first year now, going into the second year. This one here is Yumiko Ono, who used to be in NIC, who was joining us for a webinar earlier on for NIC students. She's doing the BA Business Management program at the moment and really, really enjoying it. And she said that if any NIC students want to have a chat with her, want to talk to her, she's always really happy to. So if you'd like to speak to Yumiko or another student that's been to NIC before, I'm sure that's something we could arrange with you. So that's the first reason why students like to choose us, is kind of our links with Japan. And the second reason is probably our kind of ranking and our reputation. So universities in the UK all have a ranking, and it's an important thing to consider as part of your overall calculation as if this university is right for you. Is it going to be a good academic environment for you or not? In the UK, there's three main ranking systems. One is the Complete University Guide, one is the Guardian, and one is the Times Higher Ranking. They're all similar, but they're all a bit different as well in terms of how they make their rankings, what is the methodology behind getting that ranking number. From all of those three, you can see we're in the top 30, so Complete University Guide with 21, Guardian with 30th, and Times Higher Ranking with 23rd. But if you look at our rankings over time, over the last kind of 10, 12 years, which I think is really important, you'll see that we're 15th, 21st, and 16th. Because as you probably know, the rankings go up and down, and sometimes the university will go up a little bit, and sometimes it will go down a little bit. That's very natural and normal. That's something that all universities will experience during their time. So that's why we're very proud of our average ranking over this time, looking at the three main ranking systems to really show that leading academic quality of the university. But in terms of the world ranking, because you're going to be international students, could study in many, many different countries in the world and many different universities, there's actually over 3,000 universities in the world. And of those, UEA is ranked in the top 200. So at the moment in the Times, we're 192nd, but our ranking over the last 10 years for the Times World Ranking is 175th. So it's a very prestigious, high-ranked university with a very good reputation, both in the UK and internationally as well. In terms of the other things I'd like to draw your attention to for our research and our reputation is firstly, we have the TEF Gold, which is our Teaching Excellence Framework grade from the government. So the TEF Gold is basically, they took all of the UK universities and they did an exercise to map and measure the teaching qualities in all of the universities. And they put all the universities into three different categories, either the gold category, the silver category, or the bronze category. So UEA being the TEF Gold, it doesn't mean we have the best teaching of all the UK universities, but it does mean we're in that top quality category for our teaching quality, which is a little bit like the Olympics. So we've just had the Olympics in Tokyo, which I was enjoying some of the events. You have the gold, silver, and bronze there. That's how they have the ranking system for the teaching quality in the UK as well. In terms of our research, we're number 10 for the quality of our research as well. What this means is you have very strong, very leading academics that are experts in their field, that are also very good at teaching that knowledge to you and being able to pass that knowledge on to you as part of your student journey at the university. But probably even more important than that is the campus, the facilities, and the lifestyle of the university you're going to choose. Sometimes you look at a university ranking system and you maybe have one university is number 25 and one university is number 26. So it looks like it could be quite similar, but the actual lifestyle and the campus environment, the city environment could be completely different between those different universities. So I think one of the key things for you to be considering when looking at your university is what kind of campus environment would you like as part of your studies? Would you like to be based in a university that's based in a city center? Or would you like to be based in a campus-based university like our university, kind of a big green campus? Different students have different tastes and different preferences. So it's really important to look at the campus and the environment of the city and the campus as well. But this is what our campus looks like. So you can see here from the map, we have a big, green, beautiful campus. We have a lot of green space on campus, and it's a really fantastic, welcoming environment for you to study in. So you can see on the left, we have the lake. So when you're looking at the campus map or the pictures of University of East Anglia, the first thing you'll probably notice is the big lake on campus. So that looks like this. and it will take you about 30 minutes to walk all the way around the lake. So if you ever have a break from your lessons or you're stressed with all your assignments, one of the things I really recommend is just taking that walk around the lake, because sometimes a walk is a really good thing to help you relax in your study as well. So we've got the lake, which is on the left-hand side of the campus. Then if you look at the map, we've got the lawn area. So we've got the park area. So this is a big grassy area between the university and the lake. And this is one of our most famous building, the Ziggurats, which is actually a student accommodation. If you type into Google or into YouTube, kind of University of East Anglia, this is probably one of the most common pictures you'll find is a Ziggurats, which is accommodation, which is just facing onto that park area and then onto the lake as well. Then when you walk through, you get to the main university building. So this is the main university square. This is the walkway going between some of the teaching buildings in the university. This is some of the more modern buildings on campus. So this is the business school. This is the University Medical Center. This is one of the health science buildings. And then this is the accommodation. So what I'd really recommend you to do is go to YouTube, have a look on YouTube for the campus tour, because it's a little bit difficult to show it through just pictures. I think to get a sense of it, it's really good if you can see some of the videos of a tour of campus just to see the environment. On the right-hand side of the campus map, you'll see the sporting facilities. So we have the sports park here. We have a big running track. We have a swimming pool that's Olympic size. And we have lots of sporting facilities like squash courts, tennis courts, football courts, basketball, badminton. We have lots of sporting facilities as well, kind of on the right-hand side of campus. And then this is what it all looks when you bring it out, you zoom out and look at it from the air. So you've got the lake and the grass there on the left. You've got the central spine, which is where all of the teaching and most of the accommodation is located, and then the sporting facilities on the right of campus. So hopefully it would be a really fantastic experience for you. And this is one of the main things that students say when I ask them, what you enjoy most about UEA, most of the times campus is the first thing that comes up is what they say. And the campus is located in the city of Norwich. So Norwich is in the east of England. You'll notice our name isn't the University of Norwich, it's the University of East Anglia, and we get our name from the region that we're located in. So we are located in East Anglia, which is in the east of England. That's where the university gets its name. The biggest city, the capital of this region, is Norwich. So by UK standards, it's counted as a medium-sized city. So of course, London is the biggest city in the UK. I'm sure you all know London very well. And there's other very large cities in the UK, like, Manchester or Glasgow or Birmingham, these are the next kind of range down of big cities in the UK. Norwich is considered a medium-sized city in the UK by UK standards. So it's not too big and not too small. Now, Norwich is actually a very historical city. And 400 years ago, it used to be the second largest city in the UK. So 400 years ago, London was the largest, and then Norwich was the second largest. And that's because we had a lot of people coming on the boat from Europe. They would come across the coast and they would settle by the coast here in the east of England and develop the city. So it was a very important city in historical terms, but now other cities have kind of overtaken it, and it's a medium-sized city now. But you could really see the history reflected in the city, and you can see lots of beautiful historic streets and lots of beautiful historic buildings as well. This is the center of the city. So if you look out there, you can see Norwich Castle, which has been standing there for over 900 years, as has the market in the middle of the city center as well. So if you compare this with cities in Japan, if you compare it with Tokyo or with Osaka or other large cities in Japan, you'll probably find it very, very small, because these cities in Japan are very, very huge. I really enjoy to go visit, and the difference between UK cities and Japanese cities is quite large. But hopefully it will be a really nice environment for you to study in and have something that's different to what you've got at home. So I really like to come out to Japan. I really enjoy going to Tokyo and taking the subway, going across all the different parts of Japan, of Tokyo. Sometimes I get lost trying to navigate the subway system, and it's a very, very big, busy, exciting city for me to visit. But for you guys, you might have the opposite experience in that you're used to this. This is how you've grown up in Japan, and coming to live in the UK, you have a totally different study experience in a smaller, more compact city for the 3 years during your undergraduate degree. So hopefully it could be a really nice city choice for you as well. But I think Norwich is really a city that I've said all about the history already, but it's a modern city as well. It's not one of these very small cities that only have historical areas and doesn't have anything new and exciting as well. And I think this picture really sums it up ideally. So on the right, you've got the church, one of the many churches in Norwich. And on the left, you've got the Forum, which is our main library in the city centre, which is one of the more modern buildings in the city. So you have all of the kind of facilities that you'd expect in a city in the UK as well. We've got 2 large shopping centres, we've got lots of cafes, we've got lots of restaurants, we've got lots of, cinemas and bowling alleys and things to do. So you're not going to be bored while you're studying here. It's kind of the perfect size and a mixture of kind of the historical and the modern as well. In terms of the location, we're located, as you can see on this map, just in the east of England. So we're about 2 hours away from London by train. We're about 50 minutes away from Cambridge, which is a very famous city in the UK. So if you want to go visit Cambridge, which I recommend you to do, it will take you about 50 minutes. And we also have a direct train service that goes up from Norwich to Nottingham, Sheffield, Manchester, and Liverpool as well. So if you've got some friends maybe studying in some other famous universities in Manchester or Sheffield or Nottingham, for example, it's very easy to go and visit those friends because we have that direct train service that cuts across the east to west and back again in the UK as well. You can see from our location that we're close to the Norfolk coast. So if you like to go to the seaside, if you like to go to the beach, especially in the summer, go there, see the sea, you can do that. It's very easy. And we have a lot of beautiful coastal areas where you can go see the sea close to Norwich as well. And to fly here from Japan, we have a flight route. Probably the most common one that students take is either to go to from Tokyo to Norwich and change flights in Amsterdam, or you can go to change flights and arrive at Heathrow at Stansted, or you can fly directly from Tokyo to London Heathrow, and then you can travel easily to Norwich from London. The final thing, probably the most important thing, is actually the university itself and what are the courses you can study, what are the degree options for students, and what are some of the most popular majors that you might be looking at in terms of the subject choice for you at the university. Well, as I mentioned before, University of East Anglia is a medium-sized university. So we have around 16,000 students altogether at the university. Now, in a very large university in the UK, so I believe that University of Manchester is the largest UK university, and that has about 30,000 students enrolled. A very small university would maybe have between kind of 5 and 10,000 students. If it's a smaller, kind of less popular or less well-known university, might be 5 to 10. So University of East Anglia is a medium-sized university in the number of students. 16,000 is about medium standard for UK universities. From that, we have around 3,500 international students. So that's students from all around the world, and we have students from over 100 different countries enrolled at the University of East Anglia. Normally, we have around 50 Japanese students joining us per year, including quite a few from NIC, and hopefully some of you guys in the future as well. And what do they choose to study in? Well, we have 4 main faculties at the university: Faculty of Science, Arts and Humanities, Medicine and Health Sciences, and Social Sciences. In those faculties, we have the different schools. So we have the School of, for example, School of Economics, we have School of Philosophy, we have School of History, School of Mathematics. And in those schools, we have a wide range of different degrees as well. So the way the university is organized is 4 main faculties. The faculties have the schools, and the schools have the different majors, the different degree options for you to study. We've got a range of courses, and we've got almost everything that you'd want to study. We've got here at the University of East Anglia, being that comprehensive university. The only thing that we don't really have a lot of is kind of the more practical art and design programs. So if you want to be an artist in the future, if you're looking at art and design related kind of product design or fashion design program, then UEA is probably not going to be the right choice for you because we don't have very strong in those courses. We do have engineering, but we don't have the kind of mechanical engineering, chemical engineering variants. We have that overall engineering program. But apart from those areas, we really have everything you'd want to expect from a modern university. And some of the most popular ones I've highlighted here that many students choose from us is environmental sciences, film, television, media, literature, creative writing, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, speech and language therapy, economics, international development, and business courses. Those are probably the most popular courses, the biggest schools at the University of East Anglia. But as you can see, we've got such a wide range of different things for you to study. And for depending on what you're interested in, I'm sure we can find the right major for you at the university. What I would recommend you to have a look at now is to find out a little bit more about the course options available. So if I was going to go through in this presentation and talk through every degree option at university, well, this presentation would be one of the longest ones ever recorded. So we have so many different courses available. So what I'd recommend you to do is have a look on the website. Just go to uea.ac.uk, and we've got all of the courses available at the university, and you can have a look at what might be the right major for you, what is the best plan for you to study. On the website, you will also see the degree title, but what you'll also see is the information about the course. So you've got the introduction to the modules, exactly what you're going to be learning. You've got the assessment methods, is how it's going to be taught. Are you better at exams? Or are you better at coursework? Or are you better at group work? So you might want to look at the assessment methods and see if the way the course is assessed is matching with your skills and what you think you're good at in your academics. They've also got the more practical things. So it's got the careers. So what are the careers that people do this major? What kind of jobs do they normally go to in? And it's also got the entry requirements, as I mentioned, the tuition fees, and then lots of kind of testimonials from students, including some video testimonials where students from that major explain why they chose that and what are some of the highlights of that major. So I'd really recommend having a look on the website for the course profile in more detail whilst you're doing your research about which university or which major to choose. It's one thing that's very good in the UK is our university websites are generally very up to date and have all of this information on. So University of East Anglia has this, other universities have it as well. So please take advantage of the university websites to really understand that course in more detail and see other modules, exactly what it is you want to be learning. Now for the UK, as you probably know already, the UK degrees are normally 3 years long. As an example, this is the BA International Development at the University of East Anglia. So I just wanted to go through with you just how this is structured as an example for how lots of degrees are structured in the University of East Anglia. So normally when you arrive in the UK, the first year is about building your knowledge. So this is international development course, and you've got the key modules here about development studies, international development and geography, which are the key compulsory modules. And then you've got a few optional modules you can choose all about international development. But the main point of year one when you're in the UK in the university is just to build your knowledge. So when you're studying a course like international development, for example, many of the students would have never done international development before. They maybe know very little about it, but just think it's a very interesting subject area, but don't have any background in that subject. That is very, very normal. And then that means that when you go into the first year, the aim of the academics in the school is to build your knowledge, is to give you the basic knowledge about that subject so you can be more confident in year 2 and year 3. Now, this is very similar in other programs, such as, in economics or in business management. You're going to be in classes with some students that have got an economics background. They might have done an A-level in economics or done a lot of economics before. And you'll get some students that have never done economics before going into this. So the first year is really designed to get everybody up to the same speed to be able to have the basics to build your knowledge in the subject area. Now, the NIC curriculum, as we know, is very broad. And I know you guys have a very challenging, difficult curriculum with lots of different modules of different subject areas. So that's really fantastic. It means you'll be well prepared for lots of courses in the university. But if the program that you choose at university isn't covered in NIC or isn't covered in that much detail, then don't worry, because all of the skills you learn in the NIC program has given you the skills you need to do the first year in university, almost no matter what the subject. So the first year is all about building your knowledge. The second year is normally about focusing in more detail. So in this course in international development and lots of other courses in the university, you have a really wider range of optional modules. So you look at the knowledge you built in year 1, and then in year 2, you start to specialize and focus in more detail. You start to think, I know this subject in more detail now. What are the areas that I'm most interested in? So for example, if you did choose international development, you might find that actually the thing that I'm really interested in is politics and economics. I'm not so interested in the resources part. I'm not so interested in social anthropology. Politics and economics is the part that I like from this program, which is absolutely fine, which means you can choose these as your optional modules. So the second year is focusing in more detail and starting to develop your own specialization in year 2. Normally in year 2, that's when the assessment starts as well. So for the first year, you of course have to pass the first year, and you have exams and you have coursework in the first year. But for most subjects, it's the second year where it starts to be credit bearing, and that means it counts towards your overall degree score at the university. So year 2 is when the pressure starts to build a little bit, but you do focus in more detail in specific subject areas. And then the final year, normally what you would do is have your dissertation, which is your very long essay, and then you have further specialization, and then you have your graduation. So the dissertation is a long essay. It depends on what subject you're doing as to how long it is, but it could be maybe 8 or 10,000 words, where you have the very, very long essay building on what you've learned in year 1 and year 2 and bits of year 3 as well. So it can be quite a scary thing to think, oh, I have to do such a long dissertation. I'm not sure if I can do that or not. But don't worry, because the skills you build in year 1 and year 2 gives you the confidence in the subject matter. And as part of the dissertation, you have lots of guidance from your academics at the university on how to do a dissertation, how to do a good dissertation, and how to make sure that the subject area that you're writing about is kind of big enough to be able to be covering a dissertation, but not too big that it's overwhelming. So you have that support from the academics in doing that dissertation if that's part of your module. But it's not all about the dissertation. The final year is also about further specialism and looking at subject areas in really a lot more detail. So in international development, for example, you can see the third year modules on the screen now, very specific to different areas of the world and different issues in international development. So you get to do that in a lot more detail. And then after year 3, you can graduate. So you finish your program at the university, you graduated, and then you can either go on to do further postgraduate study or start to look for a job in the future. There's many degrees where between year 2 and year 3, you have the option to either do a work placement where you go to work. So you can do the optional work placement either in the UK or in Japan or another country where you can take 1 year out to work. That's called having a year in industry. That means a year working. Or some degrees also have the study abroad option as well. So I know that you're coming to study abroad, but because you're based in Japan, you'll be studying in England, you'll be studying abroad anyway, but you could, if you wanted to, also do a study abroad program where you go to another country between year 2 and year 3. So lots of degrees have this either industry or study abroad option as well. So moving away from that at the moment, I just wanted to introduce very briefly kind of the tuition fees and what are the costs involved of coming to the UK. So the tuition fees will vary for the different majors in the university, but generally the undergraduate programs at the university, the cost in tuition fee is around 17 to 18,000 pounds. So it depends on what major you're doing as to what the exact fee is for the university, but generally it's about 18,000 pounds to do that tuition fee there. The living expenses in Norwich is not too expensive. So compared with London or other cities in the south, the living fee, the kind of accommodation fee isn't as expensive here, but you're looking at around £1,000 a month for the living fee as part of your study here. We also do have a scholarship scheme as well. So we have a generous scholarship scheme for students from NIC, and the further information is going to be confirmed in September, October. So I can't really share the details now because it's a little bit early, but normally we have some good scholarship scheme available for students from NIC. So when that's ready, I'll share it with Yumiko and Michael, and they'll be able to share it with you as well. The further information should be ready in kind of September and October as well. So I'm kind of coming to the end of the presentation part. Thank you very much for listening. It's been really nice to be able to share some of the information about the university. And then we're going to move into kind of the question and answer part. So if you're thinking of any questions, if there's anything you'd like to ask me, you're welcome to kind of come on the mic and camera and ask me a question directly. I think there's a chat box you can ask as well. But before I do that, I'd like to have the opportunity to be able to keep in touch and for you to be able to find out more about the university after the session today. So there's a few links that I'd like to share with you. Firstly, oh, sorry, Yumiko.
Yeah, please share again for your presentation.
Oh, is the sharing not working?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, no problem. That was a bit strange. I don't know why that happened, but I think you can see it again now. Is that right? Yumiko, is that working again now?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
you.
Yeah, I've only got 2 more slides left, so it's still probably worth to share them. Sorry about that. So yeah, just in terms of keeping in touch with us and being able to find out more about the university, there's a few things that I'd recommend you to do. So firstly, I think you could go to our social media page, go to our YouTube, go to our Facebook, go to our Instagram, because on there you will see lots of videos about the university. You'll be able to see that kind of campus tour that I talked about earlier. And there's lots of video testimonials from students or that have been in a similar journey to you, that have been thinking about which university is right for them. They've enrolled at UEA and they're sharing their experience as well. So have a look on our social media page, because that's one of the best ways to find out more about us and find out from the students in their own words what it is about University of East Anglia that they've enjoyed the most. We have a specific Japanese students University of East Anglia page. So if you go to Facebook and just type in UEA Japan, or go to Google UEA Japan Facebook, I'm sure you'll be able to find our Japanese students page on Facebook as well, where you can ask questions to our student ambassador. You can ask questions in English, but you can also ask questions in Japanese as well. So if you feel more comfortable asking in Japanese and asking a current Japanese student, then please feel free to do so. You can do that through our Facebook page as well. If you go to our website, if you go to the main page, you will see a program called Ask. So it's uea.ac.uk/ask. And on there, you can ask questions as well. So I'm on there, you can find me, you can ask a question to me directly, but you can also ask a question to a current student doing your major, or you can ask a student that's also from the same area. So you can ask a student from Japan, or you can ask an academic. So you can ask one of the teachers on your program some more questions if you want to know about the course in more depth. So depending on what kind of question you might have, you can always go to that platform and you can ask students or staff or me directly. You can also go to the website and see our virtual open day. So that's free and easy to join. You can just type in your details in there, and then you can have that virtual open day experience where you can see the campus and you can hear some lectures and some speeches from our academics and our current students as well. So it's really hard, I know, to be able to have a sense of what the university is like, you know, being based so far away. I'd love you to be able to come and visit to campus. I remember me and Michael, we arranged a visit for some previous students. They came to the University of East Anglia, and I'd love to be able to do that again, but I know it's not easy at the moment. So we can have this virtual open day that we put on for you instead. So you can have a look at the university, see what it's like just from the comfort of your own home. And if you've got any other questions as well, you're welcome to ask now, but you can also ask, ask Yumiko, maybe ask Michael. I, speak to Yumiko and Michael very regularly. So if you're maybe doing your university shortlisting at the moment, thinking about which university to go to, and then you've got some more questions about University of East Anglia, please feel free to contact us directly, or we can arrange it through NIC as well, because the NIC team is really fantastic, really helpful, and be able to answer your questions as well. So you've got lots of support in being able to get answers to your questions. So make sure you take advantage of that. Don't be shy to ask is the main thing. If there's anything you're worried about in studying abroad, or anything you're not sure about the university or the city or the campus life, please do ask, because it's very, very common to have questions. All of you are thinking, I'm sure you've got questions, so make sure you just speak those out and be able to ask if there's anything you'd like to know. So I think that's the end of the presentation section now. I'm going to stop sharing the screen, but if anybody wants to, ask me a question now, either through the chat box or, raise your hand, you can just unmute your mic and ask me a question. I'm more than happy to answer any questions if anyone would like to ask anything.
Thank you, Tim. はい。皆さん何か質問とかあったらぜひ聞いてみてください。カズモ君とか聞かなくていいの？
Hello, Yuta. Do you have a question?
Okay. My name is Yuta. Okay. I want to know medical cost in UK. That's because I have illness and I have to go our hospital every month. Yes, I want to know this information.
Okay, sure, Yuta, I can answer that question. I think because every student has their own personal situation, and if you want to ask in more detail about your specific kind of medical condition, we can talk about that, but maybe not in this call with all the students in the room. But just in general, for the medical cost in the UK, we have something called the National Health Service, which is the NHS, and that's the medical system that we have in the UK. So that means that when British people or anybody living in the UK wants to go to see the doctor, then they do it through the NHS, which is the National Health Service. And they don't have to pay for that doctor's appointment, and you don't have to pay for most of the treatment available through the National Health Service through the NHS as well. So that's really how it works in the UK. We don't have the insurance system like in America. In America, you have to have kind of the health insurance. In most countries, to be honest, you have that health insurance system, whereas we don't have that in the UK. We have the National Health Service. Now, as an international student, when you're joining the UK, when you come into the UK, no matter which university you choose, you have to pay a fee during your visa application, which is the IHS fee. Once you've paid that fee as part of your visa application, you get the same rights to the National Health Service as all other people in the UK. So Yuta, if you want to see the doctor or I want to see the doctor, we'll get the same experience and it will be the same cost as well because you've paid for that IHS fee in advance. Now there's some, medical conditions or surgeries or other special situations that might not be available on the NHS. So if it's something you're particularly worried about, Yuta, it might be worth just to check your specific situation with us and with the medical center, because there are some things that aren't available for the NHS. But for most of the time, if you want to see the doctor or if you need to have any treatment, then it would be available through our National Health Service.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
はい、他に何か質問とかないですか？はい、ほのかちゃん。
はい。
Hello,
Yeah,
Honoka.
my name is Honoka. I want to study social development at University of East Anglia. So for me, are there anything I have to do now?
I think for now, Honoka, what I would say is it's time to look at the different options available at the university and see which course it is that's right for you. So if you want to do social development, I mean, that's quite a broad term and it could be quite a lot of different things. So there's two areas that I would think you'd be wanting to look at. One is maybe doing a sociology program and doing something related to sociology, or it might be something related to doing international development. Because I'm not quite sure, Honoka, if you're more interested in kind of the international development side of things and looking at developing countries and development issues, or if you're more looking at the kind of social sciences and more of a sociology background at the moment. So I think for you, what I would recommend, and probably for all of you, is just to have a think about what it is you want to study at the university. Think of the kind of the broad area, what it is you're interested in, and then look at the specific majors, the specific degrees available at the University of East Anglia. If you go to the website, you can see the degree title, you can see all of the modules as well. And hopefully that will be very helpful. If you've looked at that and you're still not clear, you're not quite unsure what the course is about, then you can go through the Ask platform, or we can arrange kind of a meeting with an academic or a current students to be able to find out more in detail. But I think for you, Honoka, and probably for many other students on the call, at this stage in your journey, when you're looking at joining in 2022, I think my advice would be look at the main overall subject area first, and then start to look at the specific degrees in that subject area before making your application. So you have to make your applications through UCAS, but you don't have to apply yet. You've still got quite a bit of time before you have to press the submit button on your application. So now is the time to really do the shortlisting for which universities is the best for you, and then what subject is best for you as well. Now, in terms of how do you choose the the university, about, how do you choose the course, the advice that I normally give to students is to think about three things. It's firstly, what are you good at? So what is it in your NIC program are you enjoying the most? What parts of the program are you getting good grades on and you're actually enjoying, and you think, I'm really fascinated by this part and I want to do this in more detail. So think about, what you're interested in. Think about what you're good at. Think about, could I handle doing this for 3 years? So for some students, you might have a hobby or an interest, or it might be you're interested in one particular area, but think, could I sustain that over a 3-year period? Because your interests change all the time, and sometimes students might choose something at the beginning they think is really fascinating and then get bored of it by year 2 or the end of year 1. So think, could you be interested in this for a long period of time over 3 years, which is quite a long time? And then have a think about what maybe are some of the career options and what could you do as a job after this. So those are the 3 things that I would recommend you to do when you're looking at your course. But if you want to get some more information, then you're always welcome to ask us. And of course, you can ask Michael. You've got an expert there as well, who I'm sure will be happy to guide you through all of this and has been helping students for so many years as well. So between us and the university, I'm sure we can give you lots of advice and support as well. But for now, I think it's just looking at the subject areas, what you want to study, then looking at the specific options in the university.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? はい。じゃあ、みのりちゃんが早かったのかな?
Hi, I'm Minari. I want to ask about student accommodation. How much does it cost every year?
That's a great question, Minori. I think for the accommodation, you'll find from our University of East Anglia presentation earlier, we had a look at the picture of the campus, and you've got that big green space there with all of the teaching, and then almost all of the accommodation is on the University of East Anglia campus. So it's kind of very convenient for you to be able to go from the accommodation directly to your class. Normally it's only 5 minutes or 10 minutes walk from the accommodation. So it's all available on the University of East Anglia campus. It's kind of very safe, very modern, very nice facilities for you to be able to live on campus. In terms of the guarantee, it's guaranteed for all international students. So if you do choose the University of East Anglia, and then you make your accommodation application before July next year, which is a very long time away, but if you do it by the end of July, then you have a guaranteed space at our accommodation at University of East Anglia. Because we know that new international students coming to the UK for the first time, accommodation is one of the things that you're often very worried about. It's something your parents are often worried about. So we make sure we have that guaranteed space for international students. In terms of the cost, it depends on which one you choose and depending on the standard of the room, but generally it would cost you from about 120 to 150 pounds per week to live on the university campus. So that would include your bills as well. That includes kind of your electric, your gas, your internet, all of these things, which can be actually quite expensive in the UK. So you're looking, Minori, at around 120 to 150 pounds per week for your accommodation. That's if you want to stay on University of East Anglia campus. We have a few more more luxury options, which might be 170, 180 pounds a week. And we have some cheaper rooms as well, including some that are shared. We have a very limited number of shared accommodation, which is the cheapest one, which is about from 80 pounds per week. But the general guide should be about 120, 150. We'd really recommend you to live on campus for the reasons we've said already, that it's very close and convenient to go to class, and it's all your bills are included, and it's easy to find. You don't have to, deal with the local housing market estate agents in Norwich as well. But if you wanted to, you could also look at options of living away from the campus as well, if that's what you wanted. But for most students, I think you would want to live on our student accommodation. And yeah, the price would be about 120 to 150 pounds per week.
Yeah, thank you.
はい、ありがとうございます。寮について、今、マイケル先生から書いてあるようにね、1年目は寮に入った方がいいです。それは本当。で、その際に、他の国と比べて、イギリスが、大概が一人部屋なんだよね。だから、2人とかシェアするのもいいんだけど、いろいろ問題が起こるからっていうところで、自分のパーソナルスペースが欲しいって人はイギリスベター。 で、コモンルームがあって、コモンルームではそれぞれの部屋の人たち、コモンルームは共通で何人かがシェアして、そこで例えばご飯作ったり、リビングみたいなスペースがあるみたいな感じになってます。とてもいいです。はい、Thank you very much. カズマ君質問してたね。
Yeah, I'm Kazuma. And I want to play soccer in university, so I want to ask about soccer club. How often do they practice soccer, or do your team join some league? So something.
That's an excellent question, Kazuma. I'm going to call it football because that's what we call it here. I
Yeah,
think
sure.
if you're going over to US and say soccer is fine, but I think if you come into the UK, I'd recommend you to use football rather than soccer. Football fans are a bit sensitive about that sometimes. But yeah, in terms of the kind of football, soccer clubs we have available at the university, we have a range of different sports teams available in university through the student union. So some of them are very competitive. It can be difficult to get onto those teams, and you have to be kind of quite a high level of being a football soccer player to be able to get onto those teams. So that's quite difficult for you to get onto. They have different levels as well. They've got like a first team, second team, kind of third team to be able to match the team to your level. So if Kazuma, I don't know how good you are at football, but if you're kind of that higher level, you might want to try for the university sports teams, try out to join the kind of more higher level football available at the university. They all play very regularly, so they have the clubs. I think they play internally every Wednesday, but they also have matches against kind of other universities, more competitive matches as well. There's also the sports that you can just do more for fun. So they have the two different kind of levels of the sports team, like either you're going as a very high level kind of athlete, or you're just doing it for more fun with friends. So it kind of depends on your ability, Kazuma, but we have both available at the university through the student union. There's also lots of kind of local football clubs in Norwich as well. So you can, of course, join the university, but some students like to join kind of local five-a-side or other football teams in the city as well, to be able to get to know, more people in the community, more people in Norwich, and play in a different environment as well. So yes, we do have the kind of football, soccer available. It does depend on your level as to which one would be the right one for you, but we do have that available for you. We also have Norwich City, Kazuma, available to go and see. You can go see their game as well. We're in the Premier League at the moment. By 2022, if you join, I'm not sure if they'll stay in the Premier League because they tend to go up and down. But if you're in the UK for 3 years as a student, I'm sure Norwich will be in the Premier League for at least one of those years. So it's quite a good place for watching football as well. The answer was specific about football, but we have lots of different sports clubs for other sports as well. So in basketball or in tennis or netball or ping pong or lots of different sports. We have the higher level sports, which can be more difficult to get into, or the sports club, which is more just for fun.
Thank you.
はい、ありがとうございます。他には何か質問とかある？大丈夫そう？はい、ありがとうございます。Michael, do you have any special comments on?
Well, I do have a question actually for Tim, and it's about teaching at the moment. How is teaching delivered?
Yeah, that's a great question, Michael. I think that we've all been having the influence of the pandemic. I think we're seeing it right now in doing this kind of virtual session rather than me traveling out to Japan. And I know that NIC have had to be very adaptable in the teaching over the last 2 years for students of that mix of, online and offline. So the teaching at the university has been in different kind of stages throughout the pandemic journey. So at the very beginning of the pandemic, kind of the students joining 2019 to 2020, what they found was the first 2 sections of the program, the first 2 semesters, were all kind of face-to-face. And then the 3rd semester, they had to move a lot of the teaching online to make sure that we were teaching in a safe and effective way during the pandemic. The students that joined us last year, kind of 2020 to 2021, like Yumiko and other NIC students we were talking about earlier, they have been going through a mix of kind of face-to-face and online classes, depending on kind of the government restrictions at the time. But for most of those students, the majority of the program has had to be adapted to be moved online. So they've had lots of online lectures similar to what we're in at the moment. Now, for the new students joining us in 2021, And for the people like, you know, the NIC students that joined us last year and moving into the second year, now for the University of East Anglia, for this year, we're aiming to have as much face-to-face teaching as possible and kind of a lot of face-to-face classes available for students. And the reason that we're able to do that is because the vaccination program in the UK has been so successful. And we've had over 90% of adults have had the first jab, and then over 75% have had the second jab, including students kind of aged 18 and 19 as well. So because the vaccination program has been so successful in the UK, we're going back to face-to-face teaching for the students joining us now in 2021. Now, some of the very large lectures, so in a university, in a lecture, you might have, you know, 100 students coming to one room to be able to go through that university lecture. Some of those will be moved online for two reasons. Firstly, because it's safer and more secure, but also because the academics and the students have found that there's very advantages from doing these online lectures. Sometimes students are more confident to ask a question, for example, in an online lecture rather than raising their hand and speaking out in front of 100 students or so. So there has been some benefits from the online lectures, and some academics will be keeping those for some lectures. But in general, the students joining us this year will be returning to face-to-face classes as normal, especially for the seminars, for the small group teaching, for the individual one-to-ones with academics, and the individual kind of student group works as well. So that's the story for students joining us in this year, 2021. Now, for you guys joining us in 2022, we'd obviously have to see where we are in the pandemic, and hopefully, you know, the vaccination program in the UK continues to be effective. It continues to be effective in Japan and the rest of the world as well. So we hope that in 2022, we're not really talking about COVID-19 anymore, and we're just having a completely normal university experience. But that's not something that anybody can guarantee. So for you guys joining us in 2022, I'd say just keep in touch with the news from the UK, keep reading what is the latest news from the UK, look at the latest news from the university, and then Michael and, you know, myself and other university people will be able to tell you what is the exact situation for you, maybe this time next year in kind of June, July 2022, we'll be able to tell you what it's going to be like. But yeah, for the students joining us this year, we're returning back to face-to-face teaching, but keeping some of the good things we've learned from the online lectures as well.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Tim. That's wonderful. Thank you.
他に何か質問とかありますか？大丈夫かな？はい。これで UEA の、セッションの方終わりにしてるんですけども、何かね、個別に質問があったら言っていただければメール転送してティム先生からセンドバックしてもらうみたいにしますので、何かあったらご連絡いただければと思います。Thank you very much, Tim. 皆さん、拍手でお礼を言いたいと思います。Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
everybody.
Tim.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
ありがとうございました。
Thank you.